Did you guys know that in the past 20 years, there's been more episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants than cases of voter fraud by mail in the United States? The upcoming 2020 presidential election is looking to rely on voting by mail more than ever before. With the current pandemic making the option of heading to a crowded polling place worrisome to some and potentially deadly to others, many states are expanding their vote-by-mail systems this election. While it's a more convenient and safer option, voters are concerned about the reliability of the process. In the past 2 decades, over 250 million votes have been cast in this country. Of those, 1,200 were found to be fraudulent, with just 204 of those being mailed-in ballots. That's a mere 0.0000816% of all votes. In 2016, around 1 in 4 votes came from mail-in ballots. And this November, nearly 40% of voters say they plan to vote by mail. We spoke with California Association of Voting Officials President Tim Mayer about the different vote-by-mail methods.
There's 2 kinds of ways to vote, using the postal service. One is the absentee ballot, which you can request in most states. Some require you to have a reason, some they don't care, just request it. And the other is, the vote by mail, which is your state plans to mail out the ballot to everyone, and then, you just use it and vote in. The difference is you're registered as an absentee voter, so they anticipate getting yours.
While absentee with excused ballots have traditionally been reserved for people who are in the military, cannot physically leave their residence due to a medical condition, or are away at school, numerous states are making changes to give all voters a fair chance to obtain one. Here's Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill.
Since Alabama is an absentee excused state, some people have said, well, what about the COVID? What if I just don't want to go vote in person because I feel uncomfortable being in crowds? Title 17-11-3 of the Alabama Code gives me the authority as the Secretary of State, the ability to assign a reason for people to vote absentee when we're in a time of declared emergency like we are under Title 31-9-1. When our governor declared the state of emergency because of the coronavirus. So what we've indicated to folks is that they need to check the box that says, I'm ill or infirm and will be unable to appear at my polling place.
In the 2016 presidential election, 26 out of our 50 states allowed no excuse absentee ballots, which means you simply needed to request one ahead of the election. 20 more states, like we heard with Alabama, allowed absentee ballots with excuses, with Oregon, Washington, and Colorado all having vote-by-mail systems that automatically send all registered voters ballots to their home addresses. And this year, these states have expanded their already in-place systems to make receiving a voting ballot to your address even easier because of the coronavirus. As for the concern about voter fraud, there are several reliable steps that have been in place for decades to best ensure that this will not happen.
Everybody has a precinct. They're assigned to a precinct. That's why you register as a voter.
To clarify, a precinct is a specific district in your city or town where you, based off your address, can go vote in person or even drop off your mail-in or absentee ballot.
So they look at the ballot and they, name, yes, address, yes, and the signature. Name, address, and that signature. They have the signature on file, and that's a big one.
So, while verifying names, addresses, and signatures of voters who are sending in their ballots has proven to be incredibly effective and reliable, because remember, only 0.0000816% of all votes in the past 20 years have been fraudulently mailed in, is there reason to believe the upcoming election will experience any sort of increase in voter fraud by mail?
That is one of the most clever of misdirection. Not going to happen. Could there be cases of 200 total votes that are fraudulent in that, they were mistakes? That's possible. Real fraud? No. Don't even bother to discussing it. It's not there. That is one of the best misdirections for causing people to question the vote that we have.
And as for voters who are concerned about their ballots not being received on time,
the day to be concerned is not October 25th or October 28th or November the 2nd. It's September the 2nd, September the 3rd, September the 4th. You got time to do something about it today. Go ahead and get the ballot, cast your vote now. So then you've got plenty of time and you won't be concerned about whether or not it'll be received on time.
But it's important to know that sending your ballot out in the mail is not the only option when voting absentee or by mail.
Let's cut out the USPS part of this. Do I think that there's any jurisdiction that won't allow you to drop off the ballot into a box at the registrar's office? I doubt it. Put it in the box at, whether it's your local precinct or whether it's at the registrar's office or some polling station, wherever it is. Don't put it in the mail. The other thing is vote as early as is possible and comfortable for you to vote.
The deadline for applying for and sending out your absentee or mailed-in ballots varies from state to state, and we highly recommend you check out your state's official government website to make sure you know all the information, and please make sure you do go out and vote this year. Don't underestimate the power of your vote, and if you have any concerns in physically heading out to a polling place this election day, you now know that there are other options in place to make this a safe and easy process for you. And whether you stick your ballot in the mailbox or head out to your local precinct to drop it off, it is so important to proudly exercise your right to vote in each and every election. So vote early and stay healthy. For additional info, including links to help you find more information about your state's election rules and policies, head to idobi.com/vote. That's idobi.com/vote.